Our next speaker is Desmond Lindo. Not fully thought out ideas, the problem and the solution.
Thank you. I prefer to be called Des. I've been called other things. Des isn't bad. I'm notorious for being a producer of ideas. I come up with them 5 minutes. And I was encouraged to take up writing, which I did, and managed to bring out a little book of funny stories and so on full of my ideas. And basically, I'm going to be reading one of them today because I thought it suited the conference very much. I have titled it Not Fully Thought Out Ideas, but in my book it was called something else that was already on the program. Anyway, I'm just going to read it. The 1986 South African film, The Gods Must Be Crazy, remains one of my favorite comedies. I try to see it every time it comes on television. I caught a showing of it recently and enjoyed it almost as much as I did the first time. I said almost because my enjoyment was tempered by an idea that occurred to me while watching a minor episode in the film. The episode in question is the one in which a rhinoceros suddenly comes charging into the bushman's campsite during the night, stomping out his campfire and scaring the daylights out of him. Anybody saw the film? Remember it? A lot of people did. Okay. According to the makers of the film, the African rhinoceros acts as a sort of fire warden of the veldt. Having a keen sense of smell, it appears the rhino can detect the outbreak of a fire miles away and will instinctively race to the site to stomp it out. That an otherwise ferocious wild animal could possess such a socially responsible instinct set me to thinking, distracting me from the slapstick fun at the heart of the movie. I am, as anyone who knows me will attest, a serious-minded person with a great interest in ideas, in social trends, and in everything that affects the well-being of my fellow man. I'm also a student of history, and know that from time to time, various ideas or movements, some of them pretty absurd at bottom, have come along and ultimately developed sufficient momentum to adversely affect the course of history. Thus, while ruminating on the peculiar predisposition of the rhino, it occurred to me that what Canada needed, what the world needed, in order to remain a land of reason and responsible government, was what could be called a stupid ideas rhinoceros. Stupid ideas, bad ideas, I need not tell you, do tend to spread like wildfire. I saw the need, therefore, for a stupid ideas rhinoceros, or a SIR, or some suitably fearless, clear-headed, tough-minded, articulate, impartial, and socially conscious individual who, at the first flaring up of a stupid idea, would charge in and stomp it out. At the same time, I realized that this individual, like the African rhinoceros, would have to be extremely thick-skinned, as he or she would undoubtedly be exposed to a great deal of contumely. I saw the position as a government-appointed one, much like a Ombudsman, or the Auditor General, and with a budget similar size. Entranced, therefore, with a vision of the benefits that would accrue from the establishment of such a position, I spent several days getting in touch with politicians and bureaucrats in various government departments, both federal and provincial, hoping to persuade someone to pick up on my idea. I began, logically enough it seemed to me, by contacting officials at the Federal Consumer Protection Branch. The folks I spoke to there liked the idea, but thought it outside of their jurisdiction, and shunted me off, for some reason, to arts, culture, and heritage, who in turn gave me a 188 number until no one answered. And if you phone Ottawa, that's what you'll get. With a great deal of perseverance, I managed to track down a few members of Parliament, as well as a couple of provincial MLAs, and pitched my idea to them. Now, perhaps I wasn't thinking clearly, because it took me a while to understand why the politicians I spoke to were all so hostile to my proposal. It eventually dawned on me, you see, that they were the most prolific producers of stupid ideas to be found anywhere. And naturally, they were protecting their own interests. But Undaunted, I continued to pursue the idea, pitching it even more fervently to family and friends. Now there I'm happy to say, I think it got the reception it deserved, which was a general acknowledgement that I'd done it again, that I was indeed the brilliant thinker everyone had always accepted me to be. Yes, my boy, they said, you're astounding. You're beyond human comprehension. Einstein had nothing on you. I was the Bertrand Russell of British Columbia, someone declared. But as open to the idea as they were, friends and family were a bit dubious on one point, which was the question of who would fill the post. Where, they all wanted to know, would I find someone with the necessary attributes and qualifications? It would take a veritable saint to do the job, they said. One person even suggested that the sir would have to be a combination of Einstein, Mahatma Gandhi, and George W. Bush. This the Bush being required, he explained, for the thickness of his skull. Well, I told him, the truth is, I did not have a person in mind, but rather an actual rhinoceros. Oh no, I said, not a person, but a real, live African rhinoceros. The stunning boldness and originality of this idea left them speechless, which gave me the opportunity to explain how this could be done. It would take a while, I told them, but it would not be difficult to prepare the rhinoceros for its role. All it would take would be a bit of genetic engineering, easy enough nowadays, a few behavior modification sessions, and perhaps a change of diet. Diet was the key, I found. The creature's own nobility of character, selfless devotion to duty, and total disregard for personal safety would take care of the rest. Once again, everyone thought this a wholly practicable idea and urged me to continue going after the powers that be in our nation's capital. This is an idea that belongs in Ottawa, they said, expressing surprise that it had not originated there. To make a long story short, I did try Ottawa again, this time targeting the top bureaucrats and even going after a number of lobby groups, including a much feared organization that advocated for the ethical treatment of cockroaches and bedbugs. But to no avail. No one in that great center of enlightenment and innovation appeared interested in stomping out stupid ideas. Consequently, I was left with only one course of action, to appoint myself to the post. Now I can make a strong case for my suitability by citing my keen intellect, my great learning, my total impartiality, and so on. But I think what most qualifies me for the job is that I have a sharp nose for stupid ideas. I can smell one a mile off. Moreover, fuzzy thinking and specious reasoning arouse the rampaging rhino in me. And last but not least, being suitably thick-skinned, I am prepared to knock heads with the most ferocious of fools. And so, folks, I just want you to know I'm here, on the job, ready to stomp out any stupid idea before it takes hold. I seek no reward or compensation for my services. It is my duty, my contribution to the intellectual health of this great nation. I ask only that you show me a little respect. All I want is that you call me sir.